Well, today my conversation is with Achickwitbeatz, and she's a music producer, writer. So when you were a little kid and you were listening to music, what were you listening to?
Well, it's kind of a weird memory. So, apparently when I was really young, like before I can actually remember, I used to kind of play with the records all the time. So my parents decided that they had to teach me how to actually use the record player so I wouldn't break things. So they said I was like 4 years old doing this. I knew how to operate the 45 and put the little stopper in to make sure it played right. And so, I remember a lot of classic hits, a lot of Motown. As I grew and, kind of got introduced to rap, Slick Rick Children's Story was the song that made me fall in love with hip hop. The video was just so entertaining. I love storytelling. And, his accent, of course, just pulled me in. And, I've just been fascinated with it ever since.
Do you remember what it was like when you created your very first beat and like people responded to it?
It was crazy for me. I was really excited because, I knew that I was kind of, wet behind the ears as far as it went. But, to have people excited about it and the first track that I ever sold was actually one of the first beats that I had made.
Wow.
And so, that was really, really encouraging for me. And, I kind of wanted to just keep getting better and better. But the fact that people were believing in me already when I wasn't even exactly where I wanted to be was just, it was a rush.
Is there an overall vibe that you have?
Yeah, if I had to put it into words, it's probably that I am generally pretty chill. So most of my music kind of has that vibe, even if, I like to listen to party music, dance music as well. But even that still kind of has a subtle hint of.
I'd love to be able to like hear or create, like even with that chill vibe. Can we like kind of make like a little groove beat there?
Yeah. Huh. All right. Let's see what I can do.
Are these all tracks that you're putting in?
So with the machine, you've got like all these different pads and then you have the different groups. And so, although I usually don't do the drums first, but if the groove's important, that's the best place to start.
Yeah.
So, I've got the kick drum here to kind of give us the basics.
How important is it for you to be able to express yourself this way? I mean, do you ever think of if this wasn't available to you, how you would get out what you're feeling?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I'd probably drive my poor husband crazy. So, it's a great way to relieve stress, express emotions without keeping them bottled up. It's really it's a godsend. Let's see what we got here so far.
So when someone commissions you, say to create a beat, what do you need to know or what do you need to hear to be able to create that beat?
A lot of times people will come to me thinking that they want one thing. And so they might use terms that don't really fit with what they're looking for. So I'll have to ask them more about the energy that they want other people to feel. So, I've created background music for commercials, for theme songs, for podcasts, and, bloggers. Typically like to let the music make it. If I sit down to make a hip hop track, but if it turns out to be house music, I just let it happen.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit harder when you have to stick to something in particular for someone else. So, a lot of times I'll give myself a couple of days. I can't, it doesn't take me that long to actually make a beat, but I don't know how many other genres are going to come out before I get to the one that I need to make. So I kind of, give myself a little leeway there just in case, okay, maybe you wanted something R&B, but the next 3 beats I made ended up being techno or something like that.
And so now you're adding a third layer. What's the third layer consist of?
In this case, it'll be some horns here. So I'd probably put that in for the hook. How there's always something a little bit different to let the artist know where it's supposed to go. Yeah.
Now tell me about the Wu-Tang Dead Prez connection.
Oh, yeah. So Desert Ease, are affiliates of Wu-Tang, and the track, that's also one of my favorites too, Riot Gear, that they made. I didn't see that coming at all. When they bought the track, I didn't know, who they were going to work with. But, once again, I know them. I know they're not going to do anything crazy. So, it's like, oh, good. And he's like, man, I can't wait for you to hear it. So, when he sends it to me, he lets me know that Dead Prez was the feature, which, was just mind blowing to me. I,
Yeah.
just looking at my phone, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. And, what was kind of interesting about it, which I didn't find out until later, was that originally, in the beginning of the track, they shout out Wu-Tang member Inspector Deck. And that was because originally that was going to be for his beat, but they decided to go with mine instead. So, that was really, really exciting. Whoa, they picked my beat over an original Wu-Tang member.
Wow.
So that was really, really exciting for me. Yeah, it's a process. No matter how good you get, it's just like you never know what you don't know. So it's always important to kind of stay open.
I like it.
So it's just endless ways to be able to express yourself. And I think the thing that I love the most about it is being able to inspire people. So, you've got the artists that are so talented already, but then to be able to create something that makes them want to create is just, it's really fulfilling.
It's like making magic, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Support for Kalamazoo Lively Arts is provided by the Irving S. Gilmore Foundation, helping to build and enrich the cultural life of Greater Kalamazoo.